Support WrestleTalk!
Support each other. After months of stories about people losing their jobs, on Wednesday's episode of NXT we finally got a piece of good news regarding employment in WWE. Or, more accurately, independent contracting restricting your freelance rights in WWE. Because even though he lost the NXT Interim Cruiserweight Championship tournament, Drake Maverick got his job back. Drakeception for the win! Drake Maverick. This follows what has been a very emotionally investing, albeit rather exploitative, storyline since WWE announced their mass firings back in mid-April. Maverick was one of those released, but he cut a genuine, impassioned promo that went viral on social media, and in hindsight, likely got him his WWE job back. Maverick had already been announced for the Cruiserweight title tournament, so NXT lent into Drake's real-life firing, playing up the storyline where he might be able to stay in WWE if he won the championship. This had already received a significant amount of fan backlash, with many uncomfortable over mixing people losing their jobs with pro wrestling storylines. To which WWE then said, "Hold my beer, me," and somehow topped their insensitive booking powers by using Jeff Hardy in a DWI hit-and-run storyline. But now one of those very wrestlers who lost their job at the same time as Maverick, Lio Rush, has spoken out about how the Drake storyline has made him feel. Man, are they going to hire everyone back then? Kind of a slap in the face to use this as a shoot work, but I guess I'm not surprised. Super happy for anyone getting their job back, but damn, real trauma and a lot of others were a part of this, literally making a mockery of legitimate firings, because it's up. It's called having a heart and showing compassion for those who have also suffered from losing their jobs on that day. It's not Spud's fault, it's the company's, and it's disgusting. It must be noted that Rush infamously joked that Emma wasn't truly ready for Asuka the day of her WWE release back in 2017, for which he received a lot of backstage heat. Before we get on with the rest of the episode, I'd just like to say a huge thank you to this video's sponsor.
Oh God, Ollie, what do you want? I'm really busy right now. Please don't bother me with anything.
Pete, this is serious. We're going to do your performance review now. Actually.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, what do you want to talk about?
Well, you've been with us for over a year. Really happy with the stuff, but to be honest, it's well past time now that you installed Raid Shadow Legends. Raid Shadow Legends is a turn-based fantasy RPG available to play on both mobile and PC for free, and it's easier than ever to get started because of these facts. Raid has been downloaded over 25 million times. Fact. Over 1 million people play the game every day. Fact. And there's been almost 2 billion live PvP battles fought. Fact-ageddon! Which means there's a huge community to get involved in on YouTube, Reddit, Twitch, and more to find the best strategies, artifacts, and facts. Download Raid using WrestleTalk's special links in the video description below, and if you're a new player, you'll get 100,000 silver and the free rare champion Hexweaver, who is a badass one to start your campaign with. All this treasure will be waiting for you here in the inbox. Please do at least give Raid a try using our links below, because it really helps support us here at WrestleTalk. And let's get raiding together. Viking raiding. Now back to Drake Maverick. On the NXT TakeOver conference call, Triple H revealed the thought process backstage over the Maverick storyline, implying he was caught by surprise by the mass firings. We already had the tournament booked out, and I believe it was a little bit of a jumble, but we already had it promoted. Then the releases happened, which is horrible. Hunter went on to say that NXT asked Maverick if he wanted to continue in the tournament, which he very much did, and Drake then captured people's hearts and imaginations, and you either ignore it or turn it into something. So we turned it into something based off him and his performances. I'm personally thrilled for him that he can continue to do what he loves and dreams about doing. I'm thrilled we were able to get where we did. Aside from the initial firings, it's a situation that's hard to completely fault. Yes, using them as a pro wrestling storyline is cynical and exploitative, but the best wrestling stories do use the fuel of real life. And at the end of the day, somebody hugely deserving got their job back at a time when there's not much good news to go around. Do you think WWE did the right thing with Drake Maverick? Let me know in the comments because I'll be replying to people from out of my own personal fight pit. But while Maverick clawed and promoed his way to get back to NXT, in a few months' time, there's a very real possibility one of its top stars might just walk right into the competition. In March, Adam Cole became the longest ever reigning NXT champion, and this past Monday saw yet another milestone, marking a whole year of his undisputed era. While I've been predicting him to continue his reign, retaining against Velveteen Dream at this Sunday's NXT TakeOver in Your House though, a new report from Wrestling Inc. has thrown his future into doubt, revealing his contract expires in just 2 months, and he has yet to re-sign with WWE. This is very odd, as WWE tries to agree new terms way in advance of wrestlers' expiration dates, and Cole's deal runs out in August. Unsurprisingly, WrestlingNews.co have added there is a good chance AEW will make an offer to sign him. This comes just 2 weeks after Cole was photographed at the Double or Nothing after party, as he is close personal friends with the Young Bucks, having all been in the Bullet Club and being the Elite for years together. Him being there was seemingly meant to be kept secret, as he was initially shown in the background of a tweet from Toni Schiavone, who quickly deleted that image and reposted it with Cole cropped out, because nobody puts Bay in the corner. Cole is also in a long-term relationship with top AEW heel and rolling model Britt Baker, who revealed in her AEW Unrestricted podcast interview last week that Cole had visited the Dynamite New Year's show after previously being banned from attending, and that she hopes the Elite are reunited soon. They're all one huge giant family, and I hope there is a day in the near future where Adam Cole can be in a ring with the Young Bucks and Kenny and Cody. It'll all come full circle, and we can all be one giant happy family. With Cole's WWE contract expiring in August, that means he could turn up at AEW's All Out the following month if he chooses not to re-sign. Do you think Cole will go to AEW? Let me know in the comments. WWE won't let one of their most pushed NXT stars go to their direct competitor without a fight pit though. As we've already seen with Matt Riddle last week, they're prepared to call up talent to Raw or SmackDown in an attempt to make people stay with main roster money. And Wrestling Inc. is reporting that is happening with 2 other top NXT stars. Along with Riddle appearing on last Friday's SmackDown, and us breaking that Dominik Dijakovic and Chelsea Green will likely be joining him on the main roster soon, because we do exclusives now, don't you know? Wrestling Inc. writes that Io Shirai and Velveteen Dream are also being discussed as potential call-ups. This would have huge ramifications for NXT, as Dream and Shirai have been positioned as the #1 contenders for the top men's and women's titles respectively. If they both go up with Riddle, that would severely gut NXT's roster, possibly supporting Dream's planned call-up. He has been removed from the NXT banner on WWE.com, just like Riddle. Shirai, however, remains featured. The NXT call-ups are a classic WWE panic move over falling ratings. And if WWE are panicking, that can only mean one thing: Brock Lesnar's going to return and win a title imminently. Thanks for your support on Patreon, the $100 man CD Hover. Brock hasn't been seen in WWE since early April, when he lost the WWE Championship to Drew McIntyre in the co-main event of WrestleMania 36, with Drew vs Big Show as the third night show closer. And it's only a matter of time before we see him returning for his next high-profile 5-minute match full of suplexes. Dave Meltzer has said on Wrestling Observer Radio that he expects Lesnar will be booked for SummerSlam regardless of whether it takes place in front of fans or not. Previous reports have stated that Vince McMahon doesn't just want Brock back by SummerSlam, he wants the fans back too. But Boston has banned large-scale events until Labor Day in September, meaning SummerSlam could be delayed until Septemberfest, or the show could be moved to a state that allows fans to attend. Until then, everything is taking place in the WWE Performance Center in Florida. Its governor, Ron DeSantis, has moved the state into phase 2 of 3, the one with Guardians of the Galaxy and Captain America Winter Soldier, meaning that gyms and fitness studios are now allowed to reopen with 50% capacity. The Performance Center has decided not to restart training though, instead holding online video call sessions for new recruits, where they watch old matches and critique them, which is what we all do. We're all wrestlers now. For the NXT talent being used in the Raw and SmackDown crowds, however, they have no such luxury, still being bussed into the Performance Center despite WWE reportedly not testing for Steve Corino specifically, instead just taking talent's temperatures and getting them to fill out a questionnaire. This is far behind the safety procedures at the UFC and AEW, who test specifically for Corino. Triple H addressed this on yesterday's conference call, saying they'll begin that once widespread testing that is accurate becomes available, stating their current testing methods are extensive and, most importantly, they've worked. So extensive, they don't actually do the combat sports field's leading procedures. Having those wrestlers in the crowd, and with it being a TakeOver go-home week, evidently helped NXT in the ratings on Wednesday night, where it pulled in 715,000 viewers, which was just behind AEW's 730,000. NXT only dropped 16,000 people from the previous week, while Dynamite lost nearly 100,000. Even though most eyes on Wednesday night were watching the news with the current situation in the US, wrestling was still able to draw 1.4 million viewers combined, which is great. Sure, support AEW, support NXT, they're both fantastic, but ultimately, remember, support wrestling, as tribalism really needs to do one at the moment. Wrestling Observer Radio has revealed an interesting detail from Wednesday's Dynamite, where commentary mentioned that Fenix was the next person in line for a shot at Cody's TNT Championship. This directly contradicted the match announcement on the same episode, where Mark Quinn was in that spot. This is because it was a pre-taped episode, and plans have since changed following Rey Fenix's actual injury opposed to Quinn's worked one. While AEW tried to remove all references to Fenix getting a title shot on Dynamite, that one slipped through. We all make mistakes. But not Toni Storm and Juice Robinson, who have confirmed their real-life relationship on Instagram. Amidst a feud between NXT Capulets and New Japan Montagues, love has won out. New Japan to NXT confirmed. The former Aiden English shoots on Enzo Amore's infamous concussion off the ropes in their first ever main roster pay-per-view match. Press the video on the right to watch that on WrestleTalk interviews, and press the video below that to learn more about fired WWE stars potentially re-signing with the company. Make WrestleTalk.com your homepage for wrestling news, and stay safe out there, folks. I've been Ollie Davis, and that was wrestling.